Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. By my watch, it is 7 p.m., April the 13th, 2023. I'm calling the regular council meeting, monthly council meeting to order. We'll begin with the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We have the very good fortune this evening of having Pastor Xavier Kelly of Oak Level Baptist Church to do our invocation for us, and he's brought along an audience. Thank you for coming.
Welcome. Thank you. Let's pray. Lord, thank you so much, Lord, for your grace and your mercy in my life. What a wonderful privilege it is to be in your service and to be known as yours and found in you, Lord. You teach us in your word that it is by you and you alone that wisdom is granted to us. It is by you that leaders, nations rise or crumble. We know that on that same basis, righteousness exalts a nation, Lord, but sin is a reproach to any people. And we know that by your hand and only your hand comes every good gift from above. It is then my prayer tonight, Lord, that before your throne of grace, that you will grant this town council wisdom, humility, and distinction in all matters of business and polity, that Stokesdale would be a city where your precepts are honored and where your holy name is magnified. I ask that you would give these members courage to issue righteous judgment and to act with unified hearts for the betterment of our community, for therein will be found good success, Lord. We are one nation under God, and it is by your grace and mercy that we continue forward. Encourage us by your strength, and it is by your name, Jesus Christ, I do pray these things. Amen.
Amen.
Amen. Thank you.
Next, we'll review and adopt the agenda. Discussion?
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, sir.
I need to ask for a couple of modifications to our agenda.
Yes, sir.
Items 12 and 13, I would like to reverse such that 13 comes first and 12 follows.
Is there any objection?
And then we received a proposal from Hazen and Sawyer dated 4/11/23 that also concerns Taylor Engineering and Consulting. I would like to at least add this to the agenda at the end for at least council discussion. I haven't really finished reviewing it myself, but I need to call this to council's attention. We want to make sure that our plan review and inspections are not held up for a lack of a vote of council. So I'd like to add that.
13A, Hazen Review.
Hazen and Sawyer proposal dated 4/11/23 would suit me.
Okay. Is there anything else?
I think, Mr. Chairman, Mr. Mayor, you want to add an executive session?
I'm sorry, we do have that. We do have a request for an executive session to discuss some legal matters. And we'll do that at the very end. That'll be item number 13B. All right, moving right along.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, sir.
We need to state the purpose for the closed session
We
to follow
will,
the
we
statute.
will at the time.
Okay, you got that ready?
I'll state that at the time.
Pardon me then.
No problem. I'd like to make a motion that we adopt the minutes from the December 10th, 2020 regular.
Mr. Mayor, we need to adopt the agenda. with
I'm
those
sorry.
changes. I make a motion that we adopt the agenda with the changes presented.
Second?
Any discussion? Mr. Rigsby?
Aye.
Mr. Foy?
Aye.
Mr. Landrith?
Aye.
Mr. Jones?
Aye.
And I'm also aye. Now I'd like to make a motion that we adopt the minutes from the December 10th, 2020 regular town council meeting.
Do them all. Come on.
Also the December 13th, 2020 meeting, special call town council meeting.
Whoa. We need to vote on these one at a time like we usually do.
I was just asked to do them all at one time.
Well, Mr. Mayor, I'm asking that we not do them all at one time. I can't vote for them all at one time.
All right. To begin again, I make a motion that we adopt the minutes from December 10th, 2020, regular town council meeting. Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, Mr. Mayor, I'm going to vote no on this, and I'd like for that to be reflected in the
Let's-
record with the clerk, because I wasn't present during the December 10th, 2020 council meeting. I was not on the council.
Let's get to the vote. Mr. Rigsby. Aye. Mr. Foy.
Aye.
Mr. Landrith.
Aye.
And Mr. Jones.
Nay.
And I am aye. I make a motion that we adopt the December 13th, 2020 special call town council meeting.
Second.
Discussion.
Mr. Mayor, again, I would ask the clerk to note in the minutes when they're written that my no vote is because I did not attend the December 13th, 2020 meeting, nor was I present on the council during that meeting.
Any further discussion?
Yeah, I'd just like to ask a question.
Please.
When, the next election, if we have 3 new council members, how are y'all gonna get the minutes in? With just 2 people?
Mr. Lander.
Attorney, can you answer that?
Mr. Lander, I would respectfully vote no, and that's just the way it's gonna be.
Well, that's fine, but just asking a question.
Well,
If I have to, personally, I'll go back and listen to any meeting I have to, go through the minutes, go interview the people present, whatever questions I got, but I'm not voting blind on a set of minutes where I wasn't at the meeting. I just ain't doing it, you know. The rest of you may be comfortable with that. I am not.
I'm fine with that, as long as you're consistent with that, I'm fine with it.
Well,
You are consistent with it, so, no problem.
In my opinion, it's hard enough to keep them correct when I'm present at the meeting. There's a lot of moving parts here, and I do my
I'm not trying to
best.
argue with you. I'm not, you know.
Well, sir,
if-
I have my opinion, you have yours.
It's not an opinion.
Any further discussion?
You asked Mr. Winfrey a question, and I interrupted you.
I
If he wants
asked,
to
I
ask.
asked Mr. Winfrey, that's right, so that's okay. What would we do in a situation like that?
it'd be up to each individual council member if they were comfortable with the minutes based on either their own observations of the minutes or of what happened at the meeting, if they reviewed the transcript, or if they relied on people that were present that what they thought were trustworthy to tell them what happened at the meeting, and they could vote for it in those circumstances.
Okay.
So, but it's each council member's decision on how they want to handle that.
Any further discussion? Mr. Rigsby. Aye. Mr. Foy.
Aye.
Mr. Landrith.
Aye.
Mr. Jones.
I'm no.
And I am an aye. I make a motion that we adopt the minutes from February 9th, 2023, closed session.
Second. Excuse me, second.
Any discussion? Mr. Rigsby?
I'm sorry, did you say these were February 9th closed session?
Yes, sir.
They're in your
You
envelope.
should have them in front of
You
you.
have an envelope in your packet.
Okay. Okay. Aye.
Mr. Foy?
Aye.
Mr. Landrith?
Aye.
Mr. Jones?
Aye.
And I am also aye. I make a motion that we adopt the February 9th, 2023 regular town council minutes, continued from March 9th. March 9th. Do I have a second?
You do. Second.
Discussion?
We're on March 9th.
March 9th, the regular meeting, I'm sorry, no, we're on February 9th, regular town council meeting. It was carried over from March, or continued.
Okay, did you get a second?
I did. Mr. Rigsby?
Aye.
Mr. Foy?
Aye.
Mr. Landrith?
Aye.
Mr. Jones?
Aye.
And I am also aye.
I'll make a motion that we adopt the March 9th, 2023 regular session minutes, as well as the March 9th, 2023 closed session minutes.
I'll second it.
I would ask that we vote on those separately. That is our practice here at the town hall. I think it creates confusion in the minutes when we vote for them in batches, but that's my suggestion.
Any other discussion? Mr. Rigsby?
Aye.
Mr. Foy?
Aye.
Mr. Landrith?
Aye.
Mr. Jones?
If I may, there's a correction that needs to be made on page number 5 of the March 9th, 2023 minutes.
And that correction is?
I believe the last name of Miss Priscilla Olnick, I always butcher her name, is spelled incorrectly. Mr. Foy, do you know the correct spelling of her name? I don't believe that is it. Page 5.
I'll get the correct spelling to Ms. Martin. I don't want to.
Okay, fair enough, but I'm going to vote on it provided we get that corrected.
Sure.
So you are an aye with that correction?
With that correction,
Okay, and I am also an aye. Public safety reports. Stokesdale Fire Department. Is Todd here with us tonight? Doesn't appear to be.
He is not, Mr. Mayor. I have his report. He and Randy both send their regrets that they could not make it.
Okay,
For the month of March, there were 83 total incidents for the month of March. 42 of those were 42 were medical, 27 were other, and 14 were fire.
do you have a report from the Guilford County Sheriff's Office?
No, sir, I don't.
Okay, and we don't have a deputy with us.
I think there was
It's
one
in your,
packet.
it's in your
I'm
packet.
sorry, there is one?
One in the packet. After the, first thing after the minute.
Okay, yeah,
Have you got it? Have you got it?
I do, but I'm not reading it. I wasn't asked to read that one.
I'll ask you to read it. Okay, I'll read it. For whomever is attending the April 13th Stokesdale Town Council meeting, for the month of March, the Sheriff's Office responded to a total of 214 calls for service, resulting in 18 formal case reports. The highlights: on March 5th, the Sheriff's Office responded to 2 outbuilding break-ins in the 8500 block of Blackthorn Drive, in which tools were stolen. We'd like to remind residents to secure their valuables and keep detailed information on their belongings, to include make, model, and serial numbers. The case remains under investigation. On March 15th, the Sheriff's Office took a residential burglary case on Colgate Road. The case remains under investigation. On March 30th, we assisted in North Carolina Highway Patrol on a motor vehicle accident on North Carolina 65, in which a 6-year-old child was struck while getting on the school bus when a driver failed to stop for the bus's stop arm. Flashing lights. The Highway Patrol has charged the subject with numerous traffic charges related to the incident. Does anybody have a report on the victim?
I think he's been moved to a regular room,
Good,
to regular floor.
Good.
What I read on Oak Ridge Youth Association.
good. Okay, administrative reports from our town clerk.
We had 13 meters installed this month. We had 15 applications for transfers of service. We had 28 meters and applications are still on hold for builders. Have 17 work orders processed, 46 811s were processed, 752 water bills were mailed out. Staff has submitted the quarterly HUBSCO report. It's due April 10th. We have discussed various agenda matters with the town attorney. Town staff has, after direction from council, reviewed the Ellisboro Road waterline extension and held discussions with Kennerly Engineering and Hazen and Sawyer on what the next steps will be in processing those. We finally submitted 2 years' worth of minutes to the state archives for microfilming for preservation for the future. We have processed various documents from your March meeting, minutes, executed contracts. The minutes on the website have been updated. We have followed up with Hunter Enterprises for contracts with the soccer fields. We have followed up with Excellent Lawn Care, and you have a contract for maintenance of the grounds here at Town Hall and the park. Staff attended meetings with Guilford County to discuss the ARPA grant funds. Continue to review and file documents for the state capital improvement grants, Guilford County grant, and federal grants. Reviewed and discussed with vendors improvements to the town park, prepared recommendation summary for council at the direction of the town park committee. Discussed proposals with general contractors on park improvements. Execute a contract with A&D Enterprises for the flushing of the water valves. Assisted them with compiling maps and site plans to assist with that project. Published notice of flushing on the town's website. We published notice of public hearing. Processes for the planning board. We will have a planning board this month. We do have a zoning case. We also will have one next month. We have received payment for a minor subdivision off of Mount Carmel Road. That will be coming to you, or coming to the planning board in May. We are continuing discussions with engineers and developers on the subdivisions, extension of the water lines for Angels Glen, Nathaniel Ridge, and Blacksmith. I'm currently reviewing the development ordinance. The last supplement to that ordinance book was done in 2018, and I am going through your minutes, ordinances, trying to bring that up to date. You'll probably have a budget item. Kim, once I get an estimate on what that'll cost, I'll let you know. But there will be a cost associated with updating that book. Staff attended the budget workshop and reviewed the budget message and schedule of fees in preparation for this year's budget. As you know, we have a new employee, Ms. Callahan, a part-time employee. So we've been working with her on training her on taking water payments, processing 811 requests, park reservations, and just general operations of town hall. We also followed up with NCDOT on the 25-mile-per-hour speed limit signs, and we're still waiting on those to be installed.
Excellent. Thank you so much. Do we have anybody here from the planning board? Nope. Anything for events, Mr. Foy?
No, sir.
Property committee, gentlemen?
The only thing I would note is, I was requested by Mr. Foy to reach out to the lawn care company about some weeds that are starting to pop up in the front area. And he did spray a treatment out there, right much, and he was, at that time, which was last week, he was waiting for it to take hold, and he would come back up and pull them. I didn't see him out there, so I'm assuming he's gotten them up.
Good. Thank you.
Anything for the town park improvement committee?
Good evening, I'm T. Stevenson with the Park Improvement Committee. Just a real quick update, we continue to meet on a weekly basis. We have, as you know, received quotes or bids rather from vendors with regard to construction of the basketball and pickleball courts and also the playground project. We have reviewed those in detail. We are in a position now that we've made a recommendation to be considered for by town council tonight in item number 11 on the agenda. That's for the playground project. We continue to review the bids for the basketball and pickleball courts with some additional details that we are under consideration now. And hopefully we'll weed through those and be able to make a recommendation in the near future on that.
Thank you, sir.
Any questions?
Any questions?
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Financial reports, Mrs. Stecker.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Okay, we'll start with the general fund. Okay, on the balance sheet for the general fund and the American Rescue Plan Act for the ARPA fund account. As of 3/31/2023, the balance was $723,965. Our Bank of Oak Ridge checking money market account was $23,452.23. In our CDAR account with the Bank of Oak Ridge, at the end of 3/31/2023, our balance was $2,576,261.13. Our Fidelity checking account was $326,193.11. Petty cash was $150. And if you guys will notice, we actually renewed quite a few CDARs this month, in the month of March, and that rate is 3.75. So that was really good. And we renewed those for a year. Our accounts receivable under the salaries and FICA due from Water Enterprise is $599.52. The sales tax due this fiscal year to date is $539.69. The Water Enterprise reimbursement for the month of March, which is our shared overhead expense, is $10,472.61. Let me see if I have anything else for that. Also, the retirement that the town of Stokesdale contributes, which is at 12.10%. The total was $915.56. We also received one of our North Carolina collected revenue for our franchise utilities in the amount of $75,395.95. And that total consists of beer and wine, pipe natural gas, electricity, telecommunications, and video programming. And that's the general fund.
Thank you.
And the water account on the balance sheet, this is also as of 3/31/2023. Our CDARs in the Bank of Oak Ridge total $504,635.47. Our capital reserve fund is $197,779.98. The Fidelity checking account is $678,509.04. The North Carolina Management Trust Fund is $536,389.25. Our regular savings is $45,059.29. Our AR water sales, accounts receivable, that also include March billing, the total is $17,214.33. The inactive accounts that are 90-plus days, which include 24 accounts, is $6,114.63. Our sales tax that is due back to the town of Stokesdale for the water account is $270 to this fiscal date. Just to reiterate, the March shared overhead expense that is a payable from the Water Enterprise account to the general fund that includes Gary's salary, which is our operator's responsible in charge, and the overhead expense totals $11,072.13. Our water capacity fees that were collected for the month of March was $7,500. Our total bills that were billed out in the month of March for the water bills was $40,240.06. That includes $104.39 for late fees, $19,174.50 for service charge, and $20,961.17 for water. The total deposits for the water is $47,174.24. We refunded back the water deposits of $546.96, and we received $1,600 in water refundable deposits. Any questions?
Kim, could you, in the future, could you please have a contra account for the inactive 90 days past due? Offset that as an asset?
Did you say for the inactive?
Yes.
Yes.
I have a question. In the last two audits that I've been present at, the auditor had suggested that you, Kim, could have some continuing education with the School of Government each year. Do you do any of that?
I did last year, and, I did last year, and I think Dale is in the process of looking for me some classes to get into for this year as well.
Okay, thank
I
you.
have.
Citizens' comments. Anyone want to speak?
Mr. Mayor, we have two people present in the audience. It's a pretty evening out, but I just want to ask the question. We are certain the notice went out on this meeting, right? There's no possible snafu?
That's correct. It
Okay.
went out.
Bit unusual.
Old business. Proposal to extend lawn care contract with Excellence Lawn Care for 1 year at the same terms and conditions. This was continued from January 12th, 2023.
Those guys have done a good job. I'd like to make a motion that we do extend that lawn care contract with Excellence Lawn Care for 1 year at the same terms and conditions. And I believe that is for $24,000 annually.
I'll second.
Any discussion?
Yes, sir, I have some questions. The agreement I'm looking at, paragraph 1 under agreement, where it speaks about the term, it says, "The term of this agreement shall be from April the 12th, 2021 until March the 31st, 2024. It just seems retroactive to me. Your motion is for a 1-year term ending what date, Mr. Foy?
My motion was to extend it with a year, and Ms. Martin, my understanding was this expires now? Of course, if it's in the contract, do you remember what the motion was made for?
Is it possible April the 12th, 2021 was intended to be 2023, perhaps?
I think what you have is an amendment to that original contract. The original contract was in '21. Mr. Winfrey has prepared a first amendment to that service agreement.
So I'm assuming that those dates are just a cumulative of all the period of service.
Yeah, the original contract, I think, I have it in front of me, ran from April 1st, 2021 through either the end of 2022 or March of
Yes,
2023.
I think that's correct.
And so we're just extending that till the end of March next year. So
Okay.
the additions were to add a tack on another year, essentially.
Okay, well, Mr. Winfrey, if I may, then the second part of my question is, it reads, "This agreement may be terminated before the end of the term by either party upon 90 days written notice to the other party." That implies to me, the way I read it, that there's some possibility it will continue on past March 31st, 2024.
No, that was intended that if we were dissatisfied with the services during the summer, for example, we could give 90 days notice and terminate it before the end of the term. And so could the provider.
Yeah, it works both ways. In the past, the town, we struggled there,
Yeah,
not being able to get out of contract.
I remember that, and that's going through my mind. That's why I'm kind of cautious here. So everybody here reads that as a 90-day out to either side in this
Absolutely.
agreement. Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Did you make a motion to adopt?
I
He
did.
did, and I had a second.
And you have a second. Mr. Rigsby.
Aye.
Mr. Foy.
Aye.
Mr. Landry.
Aye.
Mr. Jones.
Guys, I'm sorry, but shouldn't the amount be part of that motion?
He did say it. It was 24,000.
Okay. Forgive me. All right, then I'm aye.
Okay, and I am aye. Consideration of vendor to maintain soccer fields at Town Park, no action from January 2023. Where do we stand with this?
So there was a contract circulated in the packet. Mr. Wagner and I discussed it this morning, and we've made one minor revision to what was circulated to you, which was to add a requirement for the vendor to have liability insurance like we've required Excellence Lawn Care. So,
Yes.
so the revision that Mr. Wagner has ready to print out is the same as what you've received in your packet, except it contains language to allow to require the insurance by the vendor.
Okay.
Correct.
Do we need to hold this over till next month?
I don't believe so. I mean, I can print those copies for you right now. I've got that updated. Like I say, the only difference is after speaking with Mr. Winfrey this morning, I've added a paragraph in there about, yeah, okay, yeah, I can just read it. It's the same one from Excellent. So it says the provider shall act as an independent contractor and understands that no federal, state, or other payroll tax of any kind shall be withheld or paid by Stokesdale on behalf of the provider or employee of the provider. Provider shall be responsible for providing and maintaining general liability insurance in the amount of at least $1 million with a carrier approved by Stokesdale. Workers' compensation insurance for providers' employees, and any other appropriate insurance required by this agreement in North Carolina law.
Is the provider in agreement?
I have not spoken with Mr. Hunter about that. I do need to reach out to him to make sure he's okay with that, and I also need to get his updated insurance information. After checking the book this morning, we have not received his updated insurance information for this year.
So the board could, if it chose, it could approve it subject to their providing the insurance information. If that's
I make a motion that we do adopt this vendor with the additions that Mr. Wagner has mentioned, and with the, with the agreement of the vendor himself.
I'll second that motion.
All right. Discussion?
And one more time, that amount is what? I can't find it on this document, is what puzzles me.
It's on the title page. It's $12,000 annually.
No, forgive me, I was backing up to Excellent Landscape and I didn't explain myself.
Any further discussion? Mr. Rigsby?
Aye.
Mr. Foy?
Aye.
Mr. Landrith?
Aye.
Mr. Jones?
I'm
And I'm aye. Opening and consideration of proposals for auditing services.
Well, this may take a while because we've received a whole 2 proposals.
Who? How many?
2.
Oh, okay. I thought
One
you said a
we
whole
received.
tube.
No, 2, I'm sorry, 2.
I thought you said a whole tube of them. I thought, well,
Would you
I know.
mind saying who we received the proposals from and then maybe providing your recommendation after researching the two?
Yes. The first one that we received was from W. Green, PLLC, and we received that in March the 3rd. We received it at the beginning of March, is when we received that one from Mr. Green. The second that we received, because council had stated that we could send out updated proposed RFP, with an updated extension date for those to be received last Friday. And we have received one back from Miss Cynthia Randolph. She's CPA. And I will say, I have looked over both proposals. After doing some research and reference check on the first one we received, I do understand that there's been some,
Tardiness.
thank you, that's a good word, tardiness as far as his audits are turned in. And to my understanding, the ones that were using him at the time were actually seeking for a new auditor. So,
Yeah.
and I had the pleasure of having a very extensive conversation with Ms. Randolph. She is, I will say, very knowledgeable. We had a great conversation. She's got 31 years of experience in auditing, including not-for-profit and governmental entities. They also have 31 years of public accounting and corporate, individual, and fiduciary taxation. Their firm is a member of the North Carolina Association of the Certified Public Accountants and the American Institute of Certified Public Accountants. She was very knowledgeable is also when it come to grants. She enlightened me on several things I had some questions about, and she was very nice to give me that information, and she was just giving, talking to me about the RFP at the time, but she also answered my questions, and she did let me know that she would always be available for us, for myself, for council, for anyone that had a question, if she were to get the pleasure of being awarded this proposal. I will also say that she was also awarded, Summerfield just awarded her last month. So she does have Summerfield as well. If you look on, she sent in 2 sections. I don't know if you guys have had time to look at this.
I don't even think I got it.
Huh? You don't
Got
have
one from Green.
You don't have one from Ms. Randolph?
I don't think so.
it? Okay.
Maybe I do. Let's see. Maybe I stuck it with something.
Yeah, I believe there was only section 1 in the packet, but I looked
Oh,
to
is there?
what Kim mailed out.
I've got it. I'm sorry.
There's a section 2.
I have a Miss
There were
Green in
yeah.
mind.
I've got it.
I
I've got it. Sorry.
emailed to you guys too, I do believe, I emailed that to you. The summary of the audit call sheet, which is in section 2, and it's the very last sheet. Her base audit, which includes personnel costs, travel, and on-site work, is $7,125. Extra audit service per hour would be $140 per hour. Financial statement, examination and report production is $3,000. Preparation of the AFIR and data collection worksheet is $500, and this total is $10,625. Ms. Randolph is also under the understanding, she understands that this is for a year, and that council has the choice to look at this each year and continue each year with her for 3 years, if you guys see fit.
She does clearly have that understanding? 'Cause
Yes, she does.
I didn't read it that way.
Okay. Let me go back to that page. What page was that on, Derek? Will you help me real quick, please?
I'm going from memory. I'm trying to find it myself.
Hold on. Another thing that,
Must have been, did somebody have section 2?
it says our fees for the audit of town of Stokesdale will be based on actual time spent, 1065 travel costs. We estimate the net increase for 23, 24, and 24, 25 audits will increase no more than 3%. I can have that, have her,
That's where I inferred it, where it says it would increase no more than 3%
right,
annually for the following 2 subsequent years.
okay. Well, it did specifically say in our RFP that it was sent to her. The verbiage did not state that this was for 3 consecutive years. It
Okay.
was set to,
Wonderful. Then I'll make a motion to accept the proposal from Cynthia Randolph, CPA, located at 560 Beaver Creek School Road in West Jefferson, North Carolina, to perform the annual financial audit for the town of Stokesdale for the FY '23 fiscal year in the amount of $10,625.
I'll second.
Any discussion? Mr. Rigsby?
Aye.
Mr. Foy?
Aye.
Mr. Landrith?
Aye.
Mr. Jones? Aye. And I'm also aye.
I do want to say one other thing. I can't, I haven't worked with her as of yet. However, our conversation was it was a very long conversation. And she is so, what I
That's 'cause you
really
talk
liked
a
about
lot.
her too is she's very willing to be there. And I'm sorry, I'm not trying to sell it. I know you've already voted on it. But it's just, she was really knowledgeable. I guess I,
We're in the middle of a vote.
Maybe,
oh,
Ms.
all right,
Thacker.
maybe we need to,
already voted.
maybe,
Five.
maybe we need to reconsider this.
Speaking of
here.
talking a lot,
We did.
She's talking us out of it now.
We did,
goodness.
No, she was so I got so much information from her, more than I've had in the past 3
Kim,
years.
we're in a
You
vote.
remind me of my brother.
we voted.
Did we vote?
Yeah, we voted. We're
Okay.
done. It passed.
Excellent.
Yeah,
It was unanimous.
All right.
That's what I thought.
All right, new business.
Good job.
Thank you for doing the
Got
research.
my eyes on a
vote.
playground, sorry.
New business, town park improvements, additions to town park, new playground equipment.
This is my agenda item, Mr. Mayor. I'd like to recognize the Chairman of the Town Park Committee, T. Stevenson.
Okay. Mr. Stevenson, can you tell us about the new playground
Just-
equipment?
Just that he made the recommendation
Oh.
for the one. I didn't know if you wanted to talk about it anymore, but if not, I think it's pretty clear. So I'm going to go ahead. I'm actually going to go ahead and make a motion to accept the proposal number 6099F dated March 6, 2023 from Backyard Paradise of 3123 K Cedar Park Road in Greensboro to install the playground equipment under the terms of the proposal in the amount of $81,692.83, of which $5,013.82 represents the sales tax and would be due back to the town of Stokesdale.
I'll second.
Just want to mention that the town did receive, I believe it was 5 plus 2, 9 different proposals from 3 different vendors, and was thoroughly looked over. Really good proposals from all vendors, great, but great proposals. This one seems like, in my opinion, would be the best one for the town. It's really all I have to say about that.
Any discussion?
I have just a couple of general questions.
Sure.
Did anyone go and look at their work anywhere at any other location or contact any references for this company?
Yes, and I'm sorry those references aren't in there as well, but Priscilla did do a reference check. Actually, they were in the packet that I shared with you guys about a week ago.
Priscilla Hunsucker?
Hunsucker, yeah, I believe we have 4 reference checks, and she did a summary on each one of those. They all came back favorable.
No park committee member went and looked at another installation they did.
No, sir,
This was done by, the references were checked by telephone by Priscilla Hunsucker.
that's correct.
Okay, thank you.
And that write-up on the references is in the larger packet that the committee, the one Mike's holding. So
You got one of these, Tim, last week or last month.
certainly references were checked.
Any further discussion? Mr. Rigsby?
Aye.
Mr. Foy?
Aye.
Mr. Landrith?
Aye.
Mr. Jones?
Aye.
And I am also aye. So now we're going to get new park equipment.
Unless Kim talks us out of it.
I'd like to, while we have a lull in the moment, thank Mr. Stevenson for his work on this.
Absolutely.
Man, it's been
Absolutely.
great.
Thank
It's
you.
been
Thank you
great.
so much.
We all recognize him, by the way. We see him every meeting.
Yeah.
He's the guy out there beside the girl.
Who is that chick? Consideration to accept Scott transcript dated May 24th, 2022.
Mr. Mayor, this is my agenda item I requested. And this has been a, kind of a rocky road getting to this point. Whatever each one of you council members decides, that's up to you and on you. I can see both sides of this. Where I'm coming from, I was here in this original term. I was here while some of this activity was occurring, witnessed it firsthand. I've got reams of documents and facts and quite a bit of information. It would bother me not to do this, and thus the dilemma I had. I had a cordial conversation with Mr. Winfrey about his legal concerns regarding this, and I accept those. I understand where he's coming from. And I've gone back and forth with this, telling myself, well, Tim, you don't have any legal training, but on the other hand, under our system of government, the clerk's got a role to play, council members do, the town attorney does. And if it were just a simple legal matter, I guess the state would have an attorney running each town, or a town clerk, or town council would be operating without a town clerk and a town attorney. But we have the system we have. I've considered our town motto, love conquers all. And at the same time, I feel like if I don't particularly love this town government. I'm more in favor of the citizens, and I feel like they're entitled to as much transparency as we can deliver to them. The issue I have is just simply government has no right to privacy, except in certain cases, it's the citizens that have the right to privacy. And sometimes I think, inadvertently, we slip over into the wrong direction sometimes. I know I do it too occasionally in the town hall, and that's just the way it is. But the reason I had this done is because the audio is not particularly clear at certain places, or it is difficult to follow without playing it and replaying it and following through. The town council has voted to release the closed session minutes unredacted. That's done. The questions have been asked about the qualifications of the transcriptionist that prepared this. I checked, she is not a certified clerk reporter, and, but that is her business, preparing transcripts for government and private corporations. So that's what brought me to this point. It would bother me not to do this. I would feel like that I was involved in an attempt to sweep some things under the rug, and that's why I've done this. But I have, I understand the legal concerns Mr. Winfrey has made, and with all that said, I'll make a motion that we accept this as a supplement to the audio, with whatever disclosures or reservations that Mr. Winfrey thinks are appropriate. But I want to make that motion.
I'm not aware of it, the legal concerns. What,
Mr. Winfrey, would you address
if
that?
there's legal concerns,
Would you address that, Mr. Winfrey?
Well, yeah, so there were essentially 4 issues related to the transcript that I was concerned about. One is, as Mr. Jones has indicated, Ms. Scott is not a registered court reporter or a registered transcriptionist. In other words, the Office of Administrative, the AOC, the Administrative Office of the Courts, maintains a list of people who have completed training and who've demonstrated competence in preparing transcripts and court reports for the court system. Now, and Ms. Jennifer Scott is not on that list. And so I'm not disputing the accuracy of her transcript, but I'm just saying she's not certified to prepare a transcript. A bigger concern is related to the fact she was not present at the meeting where this transcript was prepared. And I don't know if you've seen the transcript, but there are several circumstances where people are talking over each other, and it was unclear to me how she would know who was saying what. She's not local. I don't think she ordinarily know the town council members at that time. So I was concerned about how she would know who was speaking if all she's going on is a recording that somebody gave to her. Another issue I had was the version of the transcript that I received, and I don't know if you did or not, was in an editable Microsoft Word format. So anyone who received that transcript, if they received it the way I did, they could have edited it in any way they wanted to. So that was another concern. I've never received a transcript from a court reporter that was in Word format. They're always as an Adobe format, so they can't be edited. And then the last concern I have is that she certifies that she accurately reported what was given to her, the electronic recording that she was given. I don't know how we would establish that recording wasn't somehow spliced or was a complete recording of what happened at the meeting. In other words, there could have been portions deleted from the recording, and because she wasn't present, she can't certify that it's a complete transcript of everything that was said, because she only got a recording that could have been conceivably tampered with. So all that to say, there are questions, and if the town adopts it or vouches for the accuracy of the transcript, and somebody disputes the accuracy and says, I did not say this, or this is not accurately reflect what I said, then the town might have to defend itself in some kind of defamation action, which I would like to avoid.
So your advice to council is?
If any citizen wants to post this transcript, they're free to do so, but I'm not sure that the town council should vouch for the accuracy of the transcript.
If we vote for this, we are in effect doing just that.
Well, I think there could be an argument that you're vouching for it if you accept it as a,
If the motion is to add this written transcript as an addendum to the recorded transcript, does that still put us in a liability situation?
I don't know where they're recording, I don't know that we have I'm not sure where that recording is.
I'm not either, but she had to have it to do the transcript.
Yeah, I don't know anything, I don't know where that recording is.
Where is the transcript? I mean, where is the recording?
I presume it's still part of the town's records.
I have a copy of it, yes, but I did not give it to Ms. Scott.
Do you advise us to not vote on it, or is it okay to vote on it?
I'm saying there are risks associated with accepting it.
Right.
That you need to understand, and as long as you are prepared to accept those risks, then my job is to tell you what the risks are. If you feel it's worth the risk of
Being sued?
of accepting it, that would be your call. And I would also add, there were quite voluminous minutes taken. I mean, there's like 2 pages, single-spaced, of almost verbatim, not verbatim, but pretty detailed minutes of this closed meeting that I think the town council has now released to the public. So the gist of what happened in this meeting, I think, is already out there. I could be wrong, Mr. Jones, about that, but I think there are pretty voluminous minutes that are out there already.
I would disagree on some medium and minor points, but I hear you.
Well, there again, there's one that you wasn't at. You know,
That's true. That,
my problem is, I've always said that I would second any motion if somebody didn't second it for a vote. Is this gonna hurt to have a vote?
No, I mean, there's a motion. I don't know.
Not a
if it-
second yet.
Not, it's not gonna hurt to vote.
Right.
I think they're, assuming that there's a second to the motion, I guess there will be a vote of some sort.
I've always said everything should be voted on. Everybody should have a chance to vote. But I want this to be noted that my vote's gonna, go with the advice of the attorney, but I will second it to be a vote for the council.
Is there any further discussion?
Mr. Mayor, I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
The motion is to accept the transcript. Could someone please explain what that entails for me?
I made a motion to accept it as a supplement to the audio, so they both could be used together to interpret what went on at that meeting.
As the audio only,
I make
not
no
the
claim
written?
that it's been performed by
Well-
a certified, clerk recorder. That's never been implied in any way from beginning to end with this. Perhaps in retrospect, that is how I should have started with this, as a clerk reporter.
But it would be a supplement to the written minutes right now.
No,
Am I
said
correct?
the audio.
Just the audio?
Just the audio.
Just the audio.
Yeah, I don't know that I want to get into attempting to open back up those minutes that council has approved and council has released. I'm not asking to touch those minutes and modify them.
Well, I believe sometimes you gotta let dead dogs lie. And, we lived through that. I had a lot of sleepless nights because of some of that stuff that went on. And we did everything we could. We put the information out there, got minutes released. And, you know, if I hadn't have made a promise before I took this seat down here, I would never second that motion. But I did, and so I did. I'll know better the next time.
I just
This
want
is
to
gonna
say,
hit me a few times.
I just want to say I've never received an electronic copy of the transcript, so maybe I missed it, but is this transcript in my box?
Not.
So I'm being asked to vote for something I've never even seen or read or really can't verify. And other than that, I think this is kind of senseless. I kind of agree with Jimmy there. In terms of dead dog's lie, he didn't use the word senseless. That's my word.
Any further discussion? Mr. Rigsby,
No.
Mr. Foy,
No.
Mr. Landrith,
No.
Mr. Jones.
I'm aye.
I'll go with the majority, no. Discussion regarding recording of closed sessions. Mr. Landrith has provided me with options for recording.
Who?
Did I say Landrith? Mr. Winfrey.
I wish
I get all you old guys mixed
Y'all
up.
send me the check.
Get you old guys mixed up.
Send me the check. That's all I want.
I get you old guys mixed up. I'm sorry.
Yeah, just send me the check. That's okay.
It's in the mail. All right.
Sure it is.
Mr. Winfrey has provided me with these.
Yes, and I apologize for this being a late addition to the agenda, but under state law, anything that happens in an open meeting, like we're in now, the public has a right to record it. It can be videoed, and that's what happens. In a closed session, the town has the ability to exclude the public from those meetings, and the open meetings law does not require or prohibit the recording of the minutes of the meeting, or the transactions in the meeting. And however, the law does prohibit the circulation of certain things that may go on in executive session. For example, if you were to consider a personnel matter in a closed session, that is not something that can be publicized, and if you do, you run the risk of being in legal trouble. If you're talking about a criminal matter involving a juvenile in closed session, that is not something that you can discuss publicly and cannot let word get out. So and if you have advice of your counsel in executive session, that's something that the board would not want to be getting out. So the question comes up, and this issue arose in Summerfield a few years ago. What rights do council members have to record what's going on in a closed session? And if the board does not have a policy, and my understanding is from Ms. Martin, there is no current policy with regard to recording of closed sessions. If there is no policy, then there's no limitation, and anyone can record anything they want to, and there's no requirement that those recordings ever be deleted. However, if the board were to adopt a policy that says we want to limit that, the board would then be within its rights to do that, and the board could adopt a policy to deal with the recording. So I presented 5 options for the council to consider. The first option is to just keep as we're going now and adopt a policy that we are going to permit unrestricted recording of the minutes and impose no requirement that those recordings be deleted. The other extreme position, if I can say that, is to adopt a policy completely prohibiting the recording of closed sessions. And that is a fairly common position that municipalities can take, and the clerk then has to just rely on their notes of what was said in the meeting to prepare those minutes. As a kind of middle road, you can adopt a policy that allows only the town clerk to make a recording to assist him or her with preparing the minutes, and then the recording to be secured and deleted after the minutes are approved. So in other words, after you approve the minutes, then that recording would be deleted. And before they're finalized, any member of the town council or the clerk or the town attorney could listen to the recording to make sure that the minutes accurately reflected what happened. You could, the fourth option is you could allow the town clerk to record them and keep them indefinitely, but secured. And then you'd have the decision of who you'd allow access to those recordings. And then the fifth option would be to allow anyone to record, including a council member, but require the deletion once the minutes had been approved. So those are the kind of the five options that I see, and I don't have a strong preference. I think the
You do
middle
not
road
have a-
option number three, I think is, kind of strikes a balance between helping the clerk out and preparing the minutes, but protecting the integrity of this closed session.
So if you had to put the weight on any of them, it would be number three.
My preference would be number three, I think, of this list, but that's, again, entirely up to the council to decide.
Well, Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make a motion that we continue this. I would like, myself, I'd like an opportunity to review how some other similar-sized towns that are mayor-council forms of government handle this particular issue, so I can vote intelligently on it.
I'll second Tim's motion.
Any discussion? Mr. Rigsby?
Aye.
Mr. Foy?
Aye.
Mr. Landrith?
Aye.
And Mr. Jones?
Aye.
And I am also aye.
This matter is continued to when?
Our next session.
Well, I just continue to a date uncertain. Is that acceptable?
I would suggest we continue it to the regularly scheduled May town council meeting.
Okay, I accept it.
Hazen and Sawyer review.
Did we vote?
Yeah, we did.
Yeah, it's passed.
Yeah, it passed.
Well, I mean, I want to make sure the amendment got in there. So we're good?
Yeah. For the continuation. Is that what you're concerned about?
Yeah.
Yeah. Hazen Sawyer review. Mr. Jones, I believe. This is the one for 4/11/23.
Go ahead, Mr. Mayor. I'm not that familiar with this. Has anybody read this through?
I read it through, but I couldn't tell you what was in it. It looks like a split proposal where, oh, I can't keep up with that, do they?
Shall we continue this as well?
I think we should.
I haven't spoken to Mr. Babson specifically about this. It came in like at the last moment, and I thought it was a good idea to get it on the agenda, at least make sure council and everybody else concerned was aware of it. I'm not particularly comfortable making a motion on it at the moment.
Shall we continue it to the next meeting? Is there any objection to
I think
continuing?
when we're spending that kind of money, it needs to be on the agenda anyway, to vote to spend the money. You know, I don't know,
Hey,
guys,
we received the document after the agenda deadline. But I agree with you, Jim.
So at this point, we will continue it until the next May meeting.
I'll second that. If you're making a motion, I'm sorry.
I'll make that motion. We will
I'll
continue it.
second.
I'm sorry, who made that motion?
I did. Any discussion
Okay, so the motion is to continue it.
until May?
Everybody's talking about it, and we added
It-
something. to
it is the
agenda.
Hazen
Can we
review.
Identify what it is.
Mr. Jones, may I?
I'm sorry.
My motion is to continue the Hazen Sawyer review of 4/11/23. It's their proposal includes the costs of Taylor Engineering and Consulting. Is that enough?
If that's all, I'll second it.
Any discussion? Mr. Rigsby?
Aye.
Ms. Foy?
Nay.
Mr. Landrith? Mr. Landrith?
Aye.
Mr. Jones?
Aye.
And I am aye. I have here 13B as executive session. What I want to do is it should be 14A, not 13B. We're going to open up for council comments. Nope, sorry, I'm out of order again. Nope, I'm sorry, it is 13B. I make a motion that we go into executive session under ordinance 143-318.11A3 for the purpose of discussing legal matters with our town attorney.
I'll second.
Discussion, Mr. Rigsby, Mr. Foy?
Aye.
Mr. Landrith?
Aye.
Mr. Jones?
Aye.
And I am aye. Make a motion, we reconvene.
I'll second the motion.
Any discussion? Mr. Rigsby? Aye. Mr. Foy?
Just please continue to keep the family, the young boy Jackson Franklin, in your thoughts and prayers.
Mr. Landrith?
I don't have any comments.
Say again?
Are we voting?
We're voting to reopen the session.
Oh. Okay.
Sorry.
Ah.
I spoke too early for my closing comments.
He was making,
I know,
I
making
was,
comments.
I heard council comments.
okay, I'm out of,
You're out?
Yeah,
Out to
open it back up.
reopen? Mr. Jones?
yeah.
I'm aye.
I am aye. Okay, we're back in session. I have been approached by Summerfield to provide a proclamation in support of their position against the de-annexation of their property that the developer is trying to take back. Is there any discussion?
Or do you have one?
They're asking for it. I'd just like to know everyone's opinion.
This is not on our agenda.
So,
Then we won't discuss it. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Before that, council comments?
I'm good.
Derek, you got yours?
yeah, I mean, I've got mine.
Andrew? Mr. Jones?
If you,
It's,
I wasn't, sorry, you just went on. I did say,
ahead.
to keep, little boy Jackson Franklin in your prayers. You mentioned, a proclamation supporting, Summerfield and being against the de-annexation of their town. If we had a proclamation to vote on tonight, I would have definitely done that, and let's get that done. I think it merits a special call meeting simply to pass that. So,
Call it.
sure, I'll do that.
Okay.
Thursday at 7 PM. I'm gonna call it in the Thursday, the 20th, 4/20.
We're gonna call a meeting, let's add a couple things to it to get something done. Maybe the Hazen and Sawyer report or whatever, I don't know.
We can, Robbie, I'll get with you tomorrow, buddy. And Jimmy, if you get, but yeah.
Okay, we've got a motion to adjourn and a second. Mr. Rigsby?
so, well, wait a minute. How
I'm
come
sorry.
some council members get a comment
I'm
and
sorry,
others
Mr.
don't?
Jones. I didn't mean to exclude you in any way.
I mean, damn.
Go right ahead.
I'd just like to speak to everybody about my attempt to get this transcript, released where our citizens can read it. I stand by that. I understand with Mr. Winfrey, and I still support Mr. Winfrey as our town attorney. He has to consider what's legal, and I operate on what's right and wrong, and I believe it's the right thing to do. So, I accept Mr. Winfrey's side of this, and I hope he accepts mine. That's all I gotta say.
Sorry, didn't mean to interrupt. Any further comment? Thanks for being here, folks. We have a motion to adjourn and a second. Mr. Rigsby?
Aye.
Mr. Foy?
Aye.
Mr. Landrith?
Aye.
Mr. Jones?
Aye.
And I am aye. Thank you all very much.
Folks, please exit very orderly. So not to cause a stampede
Take
on
your,
the way out.
take all of your stuff with you, please.
Will you direct the traffic force, Mr. Rigsby?
Yeah, we're gonna start at the first row. When the first row's complete, the second row can go.